What's up guys, I'm Andy from 1A Auto. In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the front brakes on this 2015 Chevy Silverado. If you need parts for your vehicle, click the link in the description and head over to 1AAuto.com. Take a 22mm socket and a breaker bar. I'm just going to loosen up these lug nuts. Now I'm going to raise and support the vehicle. Now I can take the lug nuts off. Take the tire off. Now I'm going to take these caliper bolts out. I'm going to use a 19mm socket and a ratchet. Loosen that up. Take that out. I'm just going to leave that in a little bit before so I can take the top one out. Otherwise the caliper is just going to slide up. There you go. If when you're taking that bolt out, if the pin starts spinning, you can use a 19mm wrench and hold the pin from spinning. Ours came right out. Now I'll just grab the caliper. I'm just going to rock it back and forth a little bit to compress the piston. You can always take a screwdriver and slide it in between the caliper and the rotor. Pry it out a little bit, make it easier to pull it off. Then I'm going to take this caliper hanger. We sell these at 1AAuto.com. Slide it in the caliper and then hook it onto something. I'm going to hook it onto the spring right here. And keep the caliper from hanging just on the hose. You never want to let the caliper hang from the hose. Now I'm going to take these pads off. I'm just going to use a little pry bar. You can use a screwdriver. These pads are on there pretty tight. They're rusted on there. Really good. Slide those out. You can see there's no pad life left on these brake pads. That's metal on metal. So these brakes are definitely due to be changed. We'll take the inboard one out. Now we want to take this caliper bracket off. I'm going to use a 18mm socket and a breaker bar. Take these two bolts out. These are on there really tight, so I'm actually going to use a pipe to get a little more leverage. Loosen these up. I'll take a 18mm socket and a ratchet, take the bracket off. When we have those caliper bolts out, we can grab the bracket and just slide it out. To take this rotor off, I have to take that screw out. I'm going to use a pry bar to keep the rotor from spinning. I'm going to use a T30 socket and a ratchet. Loosen this up. So this screw isn't coming out very easily, so I'm just going to take a punch and a hammer, give it a couple taps, hopefully to break some rust free. Let's see if I can loosen this up now. All right, so this is giving me a little bit of trouble. What I'm going to do is take that same T30 socket and put it on an impact driver. We actually sell these at 1AAuto.com. Just going to twist it to the left and hit it with a hammer. And there it goes, it's loose. Got it. Now I can grab the rotor. Now if this was stuck on there, rusted worse, you can take a hammer and tap in these locations and then slide the rotor right off. Here's the old brakes. Here's the new brakes from 1AAuto.com. Check the pads, the shape is the same. The front would be the same if this had some pad life material left on it. If you look at the rotors are the same height. Has the same cooling fins in the middle. The same bolt pattern. Get yours at 1AAuto.com and you can do it yourself. I'm going to take a wire brush. We want to clean this hub off, get all the rust off, as much as you can at least. at least the surface area. Now we're going to clean up the caliper bracket. Just take a wire brush. If you're reusing the clips, clean up the clips. Take the clips off, just use a straight blade screwdriver or pocket screwdriver. Clean the back side of the clips. And then also clean this area right here. If you have a lot of rust, you're going to want to take a file or something a little more abrasive and clean any of the rust out that is raised up. Just be careful, don't file too much down. And we'll take a little bit of caliper grease, put it on here. Before we put the clips down, it's going to keep some of the moisture out of there, prevent it from rusting up as bad. And then put the clips on, and we'll do the same with the other side. Now we want to clean the slide pins. Just pull the slide pin out, take some brake parts cleaner and a rag, wipe it off. You can also take some brake parts cleaner, spray it in the hole, clean the hole out, make sure it drains out. We'll take a little bit of brake caliper grease, apply that to the pin. And reinsert the pin. And do the same procedure for the other side. Before I put the rotor on, I'm just going to use a little bit of this anti-seize. Just go around this area. A lot of times this area gets corroded pretty good, so we'll just do this for future so it's easier to remove. First, I'm going to slide this rotor on backwards. I'm going to take some brake parts cleaner, clean it down. There is a coating on the brakes, so you want to take that coating off. Just wipe it down with a rag, flip it around. Take some more brake parts cleaner, clean this side, wipe it down with a rag. Make sure that the bolt hole lines up with that hole right there. And take the screw, get this one started. I'll just take the T30 socket extension and a ratchet. Just snug this down, not tight, just that's good enough. Take a brake caliper bracket, line that back up. Take the caliper bolts, you can put some thread locker on there. Same with the top one. Oops, get that lined up. Now I'll take an 18mm socket and a ratchet, and I'll tighten these up. Now I'm going to use an 18mm socket and a torque wrench. I'm going to torque these bolts to 170 foot-pounds. I'll take a little bit of brake grease, put it on the ends of the pads. Take a pad, slide it into the caliper bracket. Do the same on the inside. Now the inside pad, the bottom of the pad is flat on this one. The outside of the pad has a curve to it. Now I'll take this caliper hanger off, flip the caliper over. Now I'm going to take this brake caliper compressor that we sell at 1aauto.com, slide it in there, and it ratchets. I'm just going to go slow, compress the pistons. When that's compressing the pistons, the fluid is going through the caliper, through the hoses, through the lines, back to the master cylinder, into the reservoir. So it's a good idea. It's a good idea to check the reservoir after you're done the job, just to make sure the fluid is not too full or not full enough. All right, so that's compressed, both of those pistons. Take the caliper, make sure the hose is not twisted. Push the pins in a little bit. That lines up. Take the bolt, caliper bolts. Now I'll take a 19mm socket and a ratchet. Just snug these up. and then we're going to torque them. Use a 19mm socket and torque wrench, and torque these to 74 foot-pounds. Take your tire, reinstall the tire, take the lug nuts, get those started. Before you lower the vehicle all the way down, just let it down enough so the tire is touching. Then I'm going to torque the lug nuts with a 22mm socket and torque wrench, and I'm torquing them to 140 foot-pounds. And I'm going to torque them in a star pattern or a cross pattern so that the wheel gets tightened down evenly. I'll just go around again. We're good to go. Afterwards, we want to make sure we pump the brake pedal. There's going to be an air gap between the caliper piston and the brake pads. We want to eliminate that air gap by pushing down on the brake pedal. After that, we want to check the fluid level in the reservoir for the master cylinder. Make sure the fluid level's at the proper location and adjust accordingly, and then you'll be good to go.
Thanks for watching. If you want the parts to do it yourself, check out 1AAuto.com, the place for DIY auto repair.